Welcome back, guys, to Practical Daily Wisdom, or if you're new, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope this video is informative. I don't know why I was doing that. I'm in the moment, baby. Who knows what I'm going to do next? But these are the types of videos I love because it's based on a subscriber's question comment. Really love these type of ones. To hopefully give a tailored answer to a tailored question. But before I get into that, the foundation of my channel is non-duality. And let's talk about non-duality for a little bit before I get into the question. How this teaching can damage you mentally. I've been in these non-dual circles for 10 years now. First year was in Buddhism, 10 years in Neo-Advaita, non-duality, all that kind of stuff. I've heard stories of people at ashrams checking out of life early, if you know what I'm saying. They're exposed to these teachings under a kind of a Neo-Advaita lens, and they end the show early. Why? Because these teachings were meant for a qualified student, a qualified mind. It doesn't mean these students are better or smarter than the rest of us. It means the students these teachings were originally for, in traditional Advaita Vedanta non-duality, were ones that have already cultivated a disciplined mind, a love for a God, basically acting like a saint before they got these teachings. If spirituality is like a cake, these teachings of non-duality were like the icing on the cake or the cherry on top. And that's one thing we must understand, we can't get around. You need to do a lot of spiritual practice before you get these teachings. That's one path, the traditional way. Or, as Rupert Spira says, he says most people these days are ready for the direct path, which is going straight to the point, your pure awareness. Rupert Spira says this. But even then, he says it from time to time. What you know and how you act need to be in alignment. Now, I loved Rupert Spira for the longest time. I still think he's great, but I slowly progressed on traditional teachings for the very fact that it took me some time to understand what Rupert Spira was saying, which is what they say in traditional teachings as well. But then I started feeling, cool, I get it. Now what do I do? He doesn't spend much time on spiritual practice. If I'm not mistaken, I haven't listened to him much for many years, but maybe his teaching has evolved. But he's really good at showing you your true self, picking apart this teaching of non-duality, the direct path. But again, I still remember years ago when I would still listen to him, many of his students would ask questions which can easily be solved when you start doing spiritual practice. So there's no way around this. Do spiritual practice first, then get non-dual knowledge last, or get non-dual knowledge first and do spiritual practice later. What you know and how you act and what you feel needs to be in alignment. And when it's not, that's where these people can go a bit crazy and end the show early, unfortunately. Because this is very powerful knowledge. And when you hear things like life is a dream, it's an illusion, what's the natural tendency? This world isn't real. These people aren't real. You can get very solipsistic. I did for the longest time. These teachings made me depressed. I think that's why in my early days, I loved the teachings. Then I thought, I don't like this anymore. I would run off to the world, get lost in experience again. I think it was my mind trying to adjust. Because I did many hours of meditation under the Buddhist framework, but that's all I was doing, meditation. Mostly for lucid dreaming, by the way. I was really into lucid dreaming. So when I think of it, it was more about the experience of lucid dreaming I wanted. That's why I was really motivated to meditate. But then I came to the realization, why am I doing this? I want to end my suffering here and now. So I went into Neo-Advaita teachings, realized, oh, there's no one here, nothing to do. This is the cheat code. Or so I thought. But then I had this feeling of emptiness. I started to understand oneness. I could see it, but I didn't feel it. And that's where I slowly and reluctantly thought, let's give these traditional teachings a go. I'm sure all these wise rishis and sages of ancient India knew what they were talking about. If they were so wise, why would they make us do all this prayer, devotion, karma yoga? They must have been onto something. How arrogant is it for us to think we know better than these ancient cultures? We have better technology than them, but their understanding of philosophy, religion, the more you delve into Hinduism, you realize these people were so intelligent. They got this down to a science. And that's coming from a person growing up in a Christian background. And by that, I mean, I'm a Westerner. See, if I was an Indian saying, oh, Hinduism is so great, you can think you're being a bit biased, but I'm coming as an outsider, looking at these teachings objectively and going, wow, these people were so intelligent. They had this down pat. In fact, I remember hearing of this Christian missionary. They went to India to spread Christianity. They came back and said, how foolish are we trying to spread Christianity to a culture that is so highly advanced in spirituality? They came back saying, what can we teach them? They know it all anyway. They have this down to a science. That's what I'm saying. Myself as a Westerner and many other Westerners have come to appreciate the teachings of Hinduism because once you really study them and pick them apart, amazing. And there's a path for everyone. It's just so beautiful. But getting back to the main point, non-duality, the direct path, it is relatively easy to realize your true self. But what about feeling love for this reality? Feeling love is the feeling of oneness. And just quickly before I get into that comment, here's a creative example I came up with to feel love for this reality. Because they talk about the teachings of God a lot in traditional teachings, which I didn't want to touch. I said, I don't need this God teaching. I grew up a Christian. I don't believe in God. Just allow me to understand and see oneness, which I was able to achieve. Didn't change my life. We're at a disadvantage in Western culture because most of us don't believe in a God. We don't have a relationship with a higher power. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verses 11 says, however my devotees approach me, I reciprocate accordingly, or I approach them in the same way. That's how loving God is. God will give you what you want. If you say, I don't believe in a God, there is no God, that's the reality you're going to experience. If you start devoting to a higher power, watch fairly quickly how many blessings come into your life. It's like God saying, you didn't ask for me, so I didn't come to help you. Now you're asking for me, I'm here to help. God gives you what you want. That's how loving God is. Like children. As a teenager say, look, I want to leave home. I'm sick of living under my parents' roof. And the parents say, look, I love you, go. If you ever need me, call. If you don't call, I won't help. But if you ever need me, call. And then many times, the teenager realizes, crap, it is hard in the real world. Let's run back home. And the parent says, I love you so much, come back. No grudges, no resentment. God's like that. Run off, try to do it on your own. If you can, well done, good job. God's happy for you. If you can't, you just need to call on God. Help me. I don't know what to do. Like Arjuna does in the Bhagavad Gita to Krishna. He's out of ideas. He goes, Krishna, just help me. I'm in a state of despair. And then, and only then, Krishna steps in and helps. But one creative way I've come up with to develop a relationship with a higher power is picture someone you love currently or have loved in the past. Picture them in front of you. Now picture them saying to you, I have this amazing ability. I can transform my body into a universe. But when I do this, all I need from you is to be a caretaker to this universe. So you see your loved one standing in front of you. They start getting bigger, expanding. Then they start losing the familiar form you're used to seeing them in. They start growing, expanding. They turn into a universe. This universe becomes their body, the body of the person you love. And what did they ask from you? Can you be in this universe, my body that I've created, and be a caretaker for it? It's a very creative example I came up with because when you love someone, you love them. You don't want to be apart from them. You want to help them, serve them. So imagine your loved one doing this, growing, expanding, becoming a universe. You're a caretaker for this universe. That's what they've asked from you. So when you go about this reality, you see them in the trees, in other people, in all experience. Why? Because it's them, it's their body. And they asked you, can you just love me, take care of me, take care of my creation, my universe, whatever. I came up with this example because what helped me come up with this example is it pulls on my heart. You need love for this reality. You need to have all that love stored in this heart, poured out into this reality. Because that is oneness. Love is oneness. So when you experience good people, you can think of it like the positive aspects of the person you love. When you experience negative people, come on, the people we love aren't saints. They've got some bad qualities too. You can view bad people or experiences as those negative traits of our loved ones. They annoy the crap out of us sometimes, but we still love them. So if you can kind of visualize what I'm saying, picture this reality as a loved one that has transformed into a universe. Now love and serve this reality. It's them. You love them, so serve and love, devote. That's the kind of mindset people have when they have a deep love of God. It's called bhakti in Hinduism. Devotion, love to Krishna or Shiva or Mother Kali, whatever form you want to worship God in, you need to cultivate love. Even non-duality, which we're going to get into the question fairly soon. What is non-duality saying? It's the one appearing separate, and you are that one. Your true self is all this. Your true self is this reality, but you still appear as your egoic self. It's just this little section of it. So this little section and all of this is one and the same. So what should this little section, slice of reality do? Serve the bigger self. It's you anyway. So there's no way around this. Whether you believe in a God or not, you need to love, serve, devote. It's you or it's God. And that's the missing puzzle piece, by the way. For many people that go, I understand non-duality, I don't feel anything. And now let's get into the question. I'll put in timestamps because this intro was very long. It's like a video in itself. Here is the question. You'll see it here. I was driving to work Saturday morning and noticed an injured cat on the side of a busy road. I stopped the car, approached, and discovered a kitten whose hind legs were paralyzed. The situation has come with a heavy sense of duality that only today has begun to dissolve. There's been tremendous resistance in understanding that experience in truth, as though truth would somehow deny that creature its own suffering and existence. Like I'd annihilate this small fragment of reality by dissolving it into the mystery. I'm aware of the duality in what I'm communicating, but I remain perplexed by the experience, and the mind keeps generating images of it that are, if I'm to name it, creating the feeling sense of a broken heart. I understand that any attempt to make sense of the experience is the dream, using the dream to reinforce the dream. But still my heart aches for this cat. Is there anything that you perceive, Simon, that I'm not perceiving? Correct me if I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, this is the whole theme of the video I'm going to go with from this point on. If I'm wrong. But if I'm right, it sounds like what you're saying is you understand non-dual truth. It's the one appearing separate. You saw an injured cat and you realize everything's one, but you're getting this feeling of sadness. You feel bad for this cat. It sounds like your heart and intellect are wrestling. And what should win out? When the feeling of love, compassion, empathy comes, what should win out? Heart or intellect? Heart. Because that is exactly what I was leading up to. If you don't have love, these teachings are a waste of time. You know what? I would rather be in a group of loving, compassionate, empathetic people, whether they believe in non-duality, God or not, than a room full of people with some neo-Advaita non-dual knowledge. We're all enlightened. It's the one appearing separate. It's all an appearance. Don't worry about the cat. Why are you feeling for the cat? Come on, as a person, who do you want to be around? Someone with neo-Advaita non-dual knowledge? Or someone that goes, look, I don't care about all this philosophy. Maybe I don't even care about a God. I just love. I'm loving and compassionate to humanity or nature, animals. We want love. That's why love is oneness. The teachings of non-duality for me personally, all they did for me was give me the why. I grew up thinking I'm a separate person in a separate world. Christianity teaches you be loving and kind. And as a younger person, I thought, but why? So I might go to heaven if I do it right. And many times I'm doing it wrong because I have all these desires and negative thoughts and feelings. Perhaps God won't accept me. Look, I was young. Perhaps I didn't study the teachings of Christianity properly, but it was this feeling of, but why? Because I'm forced to do it, I'm told to do it. Non-duality gave me the why. Once you clearly understand and see oneness, it's common sense. It's the one appearing separate, so, I must love, serve, devote. It's me anyway, or it's God anyway. Common sense, no-brainer. So love is where it's at. If you don't feel love, you're not going to feel oneness. So what you're experiencing, I'm so happy for you. But don't let this intellectual knowledge block out your feelings of love, empathy, compassion. Heart always trumps intellect when it's to do with things like this. Compassion, empathy, follow heart, not intellect. When it's to do with desires, that's when you need non-dual knowledge. When your heart goes, I want to do this experience, or it's pulling you to be addicted to something, or attaching happiness to this world, then intellect should be taking over. But when you feel compassion, love, empathy, it's all heart. And here's the big thing many people miss. I did for the longest time. Non-duality, the traditional teachings, Advaita Vedanta, don't say life is a dream. They say it's like one. It's a big difference. When you say life is a dream, it gives you that feeling of, this is all imagined in my mind. Kind of like what solipsists talk about. It gives you the sense of, I can wake up to a bigger reality and this was all nonsense. These people aren't real. They're not conscious on their end. Like in the dreams we have at night. It's a projection of your mind. So you can say it's solipsistic. But this isn't a dream. It's like one. Why is it like a dream? Because you wake up to the fact that you're pure consciousness. There's nothing higher to wake up to. So the fabric of reality is pure consciousness. And the nature of that consciousness is to know. It needs to know something. Its nature is to know. So what does it do? If there's nothing to know other than consciousness, it appears as its own subject and objects. That's why it's like a dream. Consciousness is real. The fabric of reality is real because it's consciousness. So all these appearances are made of truth. To sum up spirituality in one sentence, Sri Ramakrishna was asked this. Sum it up in one sentence. He said, okay, Brahman Satya Jagat Mithya. Consciousness is real. The world is an appearance. An appearance of what? Consciousness. That's why I always take it back to the ocean whirlpool example, because it seems to be easier to visualize for many people, including myself. Reality is like an ocean. Instead of consciousness, picture the fabric of reality as water. That is real. That is satya, real. What is mithya? Mithya means apparently real. Mithya means it has a dependent existence, dependent on something greater than itself. And what would that be? When a whirlpool starts forming, what was it before the whirlpool started forming? Water, real, reality. Whirlpool starts forming. This would be called mithya. You're experiencing a whirlpool. Don't try to deny you're experiencing a whirlpool. It's appearing. But what's it made from? Truth. It has a dependent existence on the water. It wasn't there. It appears for some time, and then it vanishes back into the water. See, from the point of view of water, it's water, water, water again. But from the point of view of another whirlpool, it can go, there was no whirlpool, a whirlpool started forming, and now it's gone. Just like us. We don't experience a person or an animal, for instance, then we experience them, and then they're gone. Through death, for instance. No whirlpool, whirlpool, no whirlpool. That's the teachings of mithya. Whatever you're experiencing is real because it's made of reality, but it is not independently real. It relies on something else for its existence. And you don't have to make this all mysterious and mystical. For instance, us. You feel real as a person, don't you? But you have a dependent existence. How so? You depend on food, water, sunshine. You depend on others. See what I'm saying? You don't exist as an independent entity. You need to eat, drink. You need sunshine. You need to interact with people. You have physical needs, emotional needs. You have a dependent existence. Do you feel like an illusion? You feel real. You feel real because your true self is reality, but this egoic self came, is going to stay for some time and leave. But don't make it like, oh, I don't exist. I'm not here. Don't turn this into something it doesn't have to be. That's how these teachings can damage you. And that's why, again, they were reserved for a certain person on the path. And that's the beautiful thing, again, about Hindu teachings, which is they meet you where you're at. They acknowledge the first step we need as a human is security. We go and chase security. Once that's settled, then we chase pleasurable experiences. I want to see nice things, hear nice things, smell nice things, taste nice things. Once we've got that covered, many of us start thinking, is this all there is to life? I've got security, I've got pleasure. I still feel empty. That's when the teachings of religion come in. And you might stop at the God teaching. In fact, no matter what stage you're at, believing in a God, you've got good karma already. The very fact you can believe in a God is going to open up the doorway to your enlightenment or liberation. So that's the step. Seek security, seek pleasure, seek God. Then ultimately, if you're into non-duality, seek your union with God. Realize you and God are one, playing different roles. You and God aren't separate, but there is a love and joy in appearing separate. And even that, you don't have to unite with God. You can keep it where you truly think and feel you and God are separate. God is the master, you are the servant. God is the parent, you are the child. Or, that's why I love Hinduism again. You can have any relationship with God you want. You can view God as your friend. Talk to God when you need to. Ask for guidance. You don't have to be all formal about it. Look at Krishna and Arjuna. They're friends. Actually, in fact, they're cousins. Arjuna shows Krishna respect, but they're like friends. Like I said, they're cousins. So you can have any relationship with God you want. And you don't have to be all formal. God is seated within your heart. Krishna is seated within your heart. It says that in the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita is divided up into 3 main parts. The first 6 chapters are mainly to do with karma yoga. Next 6 chapters mainly to do with devotion. Final 6 chapters to do with knowledge. Understanding this reality a lot more. But Krishna is in the heart. Krishna knows what you're thinking and feeling. So yes, devote, be humble, ask Krishna for blessings, but Krishna knows what you're like. Krishna knows all your fears, all your desires. You can keep it a bit casual if you want. All that matters is love, surrender, service, devotion. That's all that it comes down to. But to wind down this video, again, what you were feeling in that moment with that cat, that experience, that feeling of love or empathy, and then you're thinking, well, but life is a dream, so this is just a dream trying to reinforce the dream. Don't worry about all this thinking. All that matters, what trumps non-dual enlightenment? Love. Love is always at the top. Ethics, dharma is always at the top. Again, like I said before, I'd rather be around people that have morals, ethics, have a lot of compassion and empathy, and say, what God? What non-duality? I'd rather be around those people than people go, look, I've realized intellectually the highest truth. It's the one appearing separate. This is all an illusion and appearance. You don't exist. Oh, I don't want to be around those people. And look, like I said earlier again, some of these people go to these ashrams that speak a lot about Neo-Advaita style knowledge, and they end the show early. It's so sad because you're getting a truth without the spiritual practice, and then it can send you a bit crazy. You need to spend time on understanding this truth, but the most important part of your practice is practice. Karma yoga, prayer, devotion. Stop trying to deny that this reality exists. Stop trying to act like I'm not a person, I'm not here. You are. You feel like you're a person living a life. This reality is the one appearing separate. That's why it's called Mithya. Nothing has an independent existence. Everything depended on something else to create it and sustain it. That's all it means. But it's made of truth. It's made of reality. So these appearances are made of truth. As true and real as you feel is as true and real as these other people feel or these animals feel. Because they're made of truth. But again, the definition of truth in Hinduism is never coming and going, ever present, independent existence, all that type of stuff. What's the only thing that satisfies that definition? Consciousness. The feeling you exist is that. You have felt like the same person as a baby, young person, middle age, elderly. There's a part of your experience that you, in the deeper sense, call I that is unchanging, yet it's witnessing the changing. That's why you feel real. That's why you feel free, like you've got free will, because your true self is real, is free. Reality is happening in 3 dimensions of space and 1 dimension of time. Consciousness is like the 5th dimension. You are the 5th dimension, experiencing these 4 dimensions. 3 dimensions of space and 1 dimension of time. That's why you intuitively feel like I'm real and free. But then the ego says, yeah, you are. You're real and free as this person. I'm real and I have free will. No. The ego is just overlaid on top of you to give the appearance of separation so you can experience. And all we need to do is realize, I thought I was real and free as this person. Now I realize I'm real and free as pure consciousness. You develop 2 eyes, as Sri Ramakrishna said. And there's 2 ways to do this. The first way is you go from just this eye, I'm this person. Then you develop the second eye. Oh, my true I is pure being, pure knowing, pure consciousness. My egoic self is this. So when you interact with everyday life, you still talk like a normal person. In fact, there was a guru that said that. He said, after enlightenment, don't be weird. Continue to talk like everyone else. Speak like a normal person. I did this, you did that. I'm this, I'm that. You don't have to alter your language. Life is a dream, interacting with the dream, and I know it's the dream. Just speak normal. After enlightenment, don't be weird. Continue to speak like everyone else. That's the first way to wake up. Realize the transcendent I, the true I and the egoic I, and continue to talk like the regular person, all the while knowing the true self. That is your rock of peace. The second way to wake up, to ripen the ego actually, as Sri Ramakrishna says, is go from thinking, I'm living my life, I'm doing it my way, it's my will, to become a devotee of a God, saying, God, it's your will. This is your world. I'm here to serve, love, and devote. What is that going to do for you? Give you inner peace, joy, happiness. What's the first path of non-duality going to do? Give you inner joy, peace, happiness. These 2 paths converge. In fact, they're not even 2 different paths. They're the same thing explained differently. Pick your preference. That's why it's beautiful. It's all leading to the same thing. You don't have to go, oh, these God people are ridiculous. These non-dual people are ridiculous. It's the same teaching. Anchor your attention in the true self, or anchor your attention in God, and go about this reality. That's what meditation is trying to do. Anchor us in the moment. That's what surrendering to a God is trying to do. Anchor us in the moment. That's what karma yoga is trying to do. Anchor us in the moment. It's all taking your mind from thinking, me, mine, my will, my way, my likes, my dislikes, to anchored in the true self or in God. And let this reality be as it is. The more you do that, you realize, I have no free will. Life is just living life. Or under the devotional lens, it's God performing all actions. God is doing everything. God is giving me all my thoughts and feelings too. I can just relax. That's the state you're going to get into. So again, just to wind down this video, whenever you feel love, empathy, compassion for other people or animals, don't worry about all this non-dual knowledge. It's a dream within a dream. Who cares? Love and compassion is where it's at. That overrides all this knowledge. But again, when you start desiring the world, thinking this world will give me happiness, that's where this knowledge needs to kick in. And that's the beautiful thing about these teachings. As you progress, you need to be able to bob and weave through this reality. It's going to throw you this, it's going to throw you that. You need the skills, surrender, non-dual knowledge, love. You need to adapt the teaching to the situation, like a boxer would do. If you're just stuck with, there's no one here, nothing to do, it's good in certain scenarios, but in many other scenarios, it's not going to help because you're stuck. You're stuck in a concept. Reality is beyond all concepts, yet the fabric all concepts are made from. I'm a person living a life, concept. I'm the pure witness, concept. I believe in a God, concept. There is no God, concept. Concept, concept, concept. Use the concepts like tools to navigate this reality. What's real? The feeling of existence is real. I'll end it there. Everything else is a story. Hope it helps.